Our next presentation is actually going to be a Zoom-based presentation. Clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. Thank you for entertaining my camp director needs. Why does everybody come back on in, and let's pick up these conversations at the next break that we'll have, which will be lunch. But I'd like to introduce our next presenters who are joining us via Zoom. Paloma Zapata, the CEO from Sustainable Travel International, and her team are going to share some insights around carbon neutrality and what that means for travel and trips. So I'll turn it over to Paloma.
Hi. Sorry I can't see you, and I'm sorry I'm not there, but thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm really excited to bring this information to you. So just give me 1 second, and I will share my screen with all of you guys so that I can then lead the presentation. So yeah, clap once if you can hear, if you can see my screen. Thank you so much. All right, so first of all, for those who don't know Sustainable Travel International, we are a small mission-driven organization, and we believe that tourism done well can be a means of economic development and conservation, but done incorrectly, it can be devastated. So our vision is a world where tourism can actively contribute to environmental and community well-being, and we aim to be the sustainability partners of the tourism industry. So why this is so important? So our tourism, our destinations are at risk from climate change. As we all know, we are, have been experiencing the effects of climate change, extreme weather conditions, harmful impacts, devastating people and places and the resources that tourism depends on. But tourism also contributes to those problems. So the tourism industry actually is responsible for 8% of the world's green gas emissions, and is projected to continue to grow in carbon emissions by 25% by 2030 if we don't do something about it. So what does it mean? So right now, not only, this is eminent that we've been hearing, across the board, the UN has also called out, with the UN Glasgow Declaration that we need to do something about it. But also there's a growing demand from the client side. So tourists are also expecting and wanting to be more sustainable in their travel. So statistics has actually shown a growing trend. 82% of consumers say that sustainability is more top of mind now than before COVID. 69% of travelers are committing to reducing their carbon offset or their carbon footprint of their trip. And 81% of consumers feel that businesses, companies, are also responsible and they play a role in improving the environment. So as a tourism industry, we have the opportunity to reshape the way we travel and act as guardians of our environment and our destinations. So how do we do this? So we can take climate action. So the first thing is really transforming our business practices. We really need to rethink about how we do things and where we can actually reduce our carbon footprint. And that, of course, goes hand in hand with new technology. So we also need to think about investments and being at the forefront of new technologies and changes. Then what we can't reduce, we can offset. So this is a mechanism that has been created for quite some time now, but only now it's really becoming eminent and a true solution to be able to lead us to a net zero path. So this is definitely a temporary solution that's going to lead us eventually to 2050, which is the goal, to becoming completely net positive. And then, of course, what businesses can do and what everyone can do is inspire collective action. So first take, change internally, use carbon offsetting mechanisms to support these initiatives that are neutralizing carbon in the environment and creating new technologies, and inspire collective action. So before we can do anything, we need to understand our carbon footprint. So I'm going to take you through a few examples. So basically, so that you can start understanding what exactly does that mean and what offsetting would mean to you. So as an example here, we have a couple's romantic getaway. So this is a young couple coming, a round trip from New York to Paris. They stay 4 nights in a hotel. They take a couple of transfers, some taxis around the city, and they eat, about 2 meals per day. And we say combo, which means could be vegetarian or meat eating. And we're talking about their entire trip is 3.41 metric tons of CO2. And offsetting those metric tons equal to $54.56. Another example is a family road trip. And this is, a vegetarian family. They stay about 10 nights in a hotel, and they go round trip from Chicago to Seattle, visiting some protected areas, and they go in a hybrid car. So this is already a family that is already doing something to really reduce their carbon footprint. And we're talking about 1.8 metric tons of CO2, which is about $28, almost $29 to offset this trip. And then we're looking at a business trip across the country to go to the Travelability Summit. And this is someone that is coming from San Francisco, let's say, has 3 nights in a hotel, 1 hour transfers, and 2 meat-based meals per day. We're talking about 1.19 metric tons, and that's about $19 to offset. So these are some examples. And then, of course, there's plenty that you can do to not only reduce, but there's also mechanisms for measuring and, again, for offsetting. So what is carbon offsetting? I keep on mentioning it. So what carbon offsetting means is that the carbon emissions generated by a trip, in this case, we're talking about your air travel, your lodging, transportation, and other activities that you do on the ground. You measure those carbon emissions, so they're generated, you measure them, and then you purchase carbon offsets or carbon credits to the equivalent amount of CO2 you produce. And typically we use metric tons, though you may have also seen, pounds being used, but typically carbon credits are used in a metric ton. And those funds that from your purchase will go to contribute to projects that have been third-party verified, so that they are, secure, that they're actually meeting what they say that they're going to do. So we have these third-party verifiers. And these projects usually are restoring ecosystems that act as carbon sinks. So they're sequestering carbon that is emitted into the air. Or projects that are producing renewable energy. So basically weeding off the world from carbon-intensive energy production. So again, these projects tend to end up fighting climate change by removing those existing carbon from the air or by reducing our future emissions. So what can you do right now to offset the carbon of this particular event of the Travelability Emerging Market Summit? You can actually go to our website. With this, actually, if you get access to this presentation, you can just click over here and go directly to our website. We have a carbon calculator, very easy to use, very easy to follow, and with one click, you can offset your carbon emissions. You would get a certificate of the emissions that you've offset, and then you will be supporting our carbon portfolio of projects, which I'm going to go into right now. But how else can Sustainable Travel International help you reach your goals as not only an individual, but also as a tourism business? We can help you calculate your carbon footprint of all your products. We can help you with climate action planning, building a carbon offset program that is tailored to your activities and your needs. And that can be by going completely carbon neutral or by contributing to the climate, which means that you pledge a percentage of your sales towards carbon offsetting. And then, of course, how to tell the story, how to communicate, how to engage, how to really tell the impact of what you're doing and actually motivate others to follow suit. So I talked about our carbon portfolio. So we at Sustainable Travel International have been providing voluntary carbon offsetting solutions to the tourism industry for a very long time, since 2004, which is a year into our initiative. So we've created a robust portfolio of projects. We've curated these types of projects that resonate really well with the tourism industry. So our portfolio of projects is constantly changing, but they are comprised of forestry projects, of renewable energy projects, and blue carbon projects. So a little bit more on this verification process. So not only these projects need to be accredited, so it's super important when you select and when you say you're doing carbon offsetting that these projects are accredited by a third-party organization such as Vera, Gold Standard, Plan Vivo, American Carbon Registry. That is very important that they meet the methodologies and that they're doing what they claim that they're doing. And then on top of it, we at Sustainable Travel International have our own due diligence process because we select projects that meet SDG goals, that are still operational, they have a good reputation, and then we obtain information on what they're doing on the ground so that we can create impact stories for our partners to be able to communicate what projects that they are supporting. So that leads again to the resources that we provide when it comes to communications. We provide project updates on the portfolio of projects that you are supporting, cross-promotional, also activities, newsletters, website listings. So we give you a shout out of what you're doing and of course give you materials, a marketing toolkit so that you can as well engage others in what your impact and what you're doing. And just to conclude, I want to highlight a few of our U.S. partners who are taking climate action. And you can also see their recent press release. Internova Travel Group just launched a new partnership with Sustainable Travel International that was going to bring awareness of carbon offset options and education to employees, advisors, and clients worldwide. Sonoma County, which I believe they're with you there in Orlando, they also launched their sustainability program on Earth Day with many initiatives that is worth looking at, but also includes our Sustainable Travel International's embeddable calculator on their platform. And finally, Exeter Travel, in honor of Earth Day, they've also made a pledge to become 100% carbon neutral, offsetting all their flights from 2021 and onwards. So with that said, we also have been named the top carbon offsetting program for travel and tourism by different online sources, as again, we've been really focusing on providing these carbon solutions specifically for the tourism industry, as that is our niche, our bread and butter. We really have been the sustainability partners, and this is just part of the solutions package that we provide. And if anyone is interested, please contact us. You can contact us at carbon@sustainabletravel.org, and we'll be happy to support in any way or answer any more questions. And I don't know if we have time for questions now, but happy to bring all this information to you today.
That's really great. Thank you, Paloma. We do have some time for some questions. I wanted to kick a first question off. I wonder if you could talk about the utility that meeting planners have with adding these carbon offsets to registration confirmation pages, not only for the folks who are organizing these meetings, but what it means for participants of these meetings and those who will be registering for them as well.
Certainly. So event planners, they can take a couple of routes. They can either go 100% carbon neutral. So basically, they take on this burden by measuring exactly what the carbon emissions are going to be of the activities they're going to be holding in the conference rooms, as well as all the travel that the delegates are going to have. And then they can basically either add that in to their to the price of the of the event, or they can basically take it on through sponsorship. So that's one way to really be able to claim carbon neutrality. Another way is really to provide means for the delegates to be able to offset their trip carbon emissions. In that way, there are tools, for example, the carbon calculator that I was mentioning. That carbon calculator that we have is an embeddable carbon calculator that any event can take it, can download it, download the iframe and embed it into their event website. So you can, match the colors of your event, of your brand, and put it on the website, and then really promote for the delegates to offset their carbon footprint individually. So those are two paths that events, can do, and you can start one way and then end up, with the objective of becoming fully carbon neutral.
That's great, Paloma. Let's see. If you have any more questions, feel free to follow up with Paloma and her team. But thank you again for that really great presentation. Paloma, if you could stop screen sharing, that'd be great, just so we can get the next person set up. But thank you again. Let's give a big hand for Paloma.
Thank you.